fountains are intended to overflow. So we go to the mall, you see children, they play, and sometimes it is fascinating and shocking to realize that there are fountains that are not functioning. Have you seen dead fountains? Dried up fountains? Have you seen fountains where, plants and weeds begin to grow? Maybe something happened, they got clogged up, maybe there was not enough rain, the fountain stopped flowing. And everybody who sees that fountain knows that the intended purpose of the fountain, that the one who constructed the fountain had a very specific reason for putting that fountain in place. He or she did not intend for the fountain not to overflow. That is what fountains do. I would like to propose to you that if God created human beings, and I believe He did, that God created human beings in order that they would overflow. That God has blessed human beings in order that they will overflow. I thank Jeannie for that story she just told about her life. Jeannie could have easily said, "Oh, poor me. For the rest of the summer, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm going to lock myself. Forget God. I am going to plug up. I choose not to overflow." How is my life? Am I overflowing? How about you? That leads us to the next story. Story number 2. This story comes from the Bible. If you have your Bibles, go with me to the Gospel of John, where we will read a story of overflowing. Gospel of John, chapter 4. Right? So open with me. One of those most beautiful stories. By the way, if you're not used to reading your Bibles, I would invite you to read, and you will read a story like this. I'm going to tell the story. It is found in John chapter 4, but you're welcome to read it for yourself. In this story, in John chapter 4, the Lord Jesus goes for a walk with his disciples, and he decides to go into a small town called Sychar in the land of Samaria. And it probably was a warm day like today. It was hot. It was very hot. And in the middle of the day, Jesus began to be hungry. His disciples were hungry. And his disciples said, "We need to go and we need to get some food." And so Jesus said to his disciples, "Why don't you go get some food and let me rest for a few minutes?" And according to the story, Jesus sits and leans against the walls of a well. So if you can picture with me, here is Jesus, Lord, tired, middle of the day, sitting against a well. And when he is sitting against a well, there comes a lady. I don't know what her name is. Let her call her Kelly. So here comes Kelly to the well. Kelly was from Samaria. She was not a Jew like Jesus. So culturally they were very, very different. Just like us. So many of us are rubbing shoulders today with people who are from totally different backgrounds. So Jesus is resting there, and here comes Kelly to the well, and just as she gets ready to draw water from the well in the middle of the day, Jesus takes her to Christ. He says to Kelly, "Give me a drink." And Kelly is taken aback. She steps back and asks herself, "Did I hear it right? That this man, the Jew, who thinks that we people, Samaritans, are lower than them, they would not even talk to us, much less ask us a favor, and definitely not eat from our hands, would a Jew ask me for a drink of water? And so Kelly looks at Jesus and asks this question, how come you, being a Jew, ask me for a drink of water? And Jesus makes this answer. I'm reading now. John chapter 4, verses 13 and 14. Jesus said to her, or to Kelly, everyone who drinks of this water, the water that you are going to draw from, will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I will give him shall never thirst, but the water that I will give him will become in him a well of water springing up to eternal life. Kelly, if you draw water from this well, you are going to be thirsty again. But if you would only receive from me the water that I have to give, out of you will come this fountain that will never cease flowing, and that would lead to salvation and eternal life. What a story. It's a fascinating story simply because this lady, Kelly, by the way, we find out in the story, was somebody who was with 5 men, and now she was with the 6th man. And she probably thought that if anybody finds out about my story, if they know my rap sheet, they probably will not give me the time of the day. But not only did Jesus reveal to her that he knows everything about her life, but there was not 1 ounce of condemnation as he talked with Kelly. Whoever drinks from the water that I give him or I give her, out of them will spring out wells of living water. Can I say then that in my life, if my life is not always overflowing, if it is not always pouring out to bless others, maybe there is a disconnect with what I say about my relationship to Jesus. Because if what Jesus said is true, that the one who drinks from him out of his or her soul will pour out springs of living water. Then if I don't have that, if I'm just thinking about myself, if I'm not concerned for the world, if I think that I have it worse than everybody out there, so everybody take care of me and I don't have to worry about anybody else, would there be a disconnect in the relationship with Jesus? William Barclay, a Scottish theologian, once said, and I read his quote, more people are brought to the Lord Jesus by the kindness of real Christian love than by all the theological arguments in the world. You get that? Here again, Barclay speaking. More people are brought to Jesus by the kindness of real Christian love than by all the theological arguments in the world. Fascinating statement. And Barnard Research, you don't know who Barnard Research is? Barnard Research is like Pew Research only for the Christian faith community. Barnard Research says that in almost all Christian communities, close to 92% of people come to a saving knowledge of Jesus, not by flamboyant preachers or fancy buildings or great programs, but they come because they experience real Christian love from somebody who is a follower of Jesus. So I ask you the question, Jesus created you to be a fountain, so that you are constantly overflowing to bless others. How is your fountain doing? Fair question, right? So open the book with me for a moment. And I'd like to invite you, by the way, for those of you who are visiting with us, we are on a journey, and this book is kind of a blueprint for us. Please go with me to pages 13 and 14 first. So for those of you who have not been on a journey with us, you can read later.